I want to say I'm done with Kangana playing the woman card and the victim card. I'm done. I mean, you cannot be this victim at every given point of time who has a sad story to tell about how you've been terrorized by the bad world of the industry. Leave it. Who's forcing you on a gunpoint to be here in the movies? Leave. Do something else.
I don't think there is a more fascinating, frustrating and polarizing figure in all of Indian cinema other than Kangana Ranaut. At one point she was hailed as the rebel outsider, an actor who challenged the industry's inner circle, who spoke truth to the power and who carved out a space on her own terms. But over time the narrative has shifted. What was once seen as courage now often comes across as chaos. What began as a career rooted in craft has become overshadowed by controversy. And that, I feel, is the real tragedy of Kangana Ranaut, an actor of immense scale whose legacy may no longer be defined by her performances but by her provocations. So today we're going to unpack the Kangana Ranaut problem, not with outrage, not with gossip, but with nuance. Because like of all things in Bollywood, it's never simply just black or white. Kangana's entry into Bollywood was anything but conventional. She didn't come from a film family, she didn't arrive with a carefully choreographed launch or a major studio behind her. She was discovered at 17 by Anurag Basu and cast in Gangster, a performance that immediately marked her as someone to watch. Even in those early roles, Wo Lamhe, Life in a Metro, Fashion, she had a specific kind of intensity. She was raw, emotionally vulnerable, often playing women on the edge. There was something unfiltered about her, a willingness to expose her character's pain in ways that didn't always feel polished but always felt real. Then, after a slew of terrible and lackluster projects, came Queen. Released in 2014, Queen was a cultural moment. It wasn't just about the film, it was about Kangana, the actor and the woman. It felt like her moment of full arrival, an actress carrying a film entirely on her shoulders in a role that was emotionally layered, empowering, and deeply human. At that point, it seemed like nothing could ever stop her. Following Queen, Kangana delivered back-to-back strong performances. Tanu Vets Manu, Simran, Manikarnika. Whether you agreed with the films or not, her screen presence was undeniable. She was fearless, unpredictable, and entirely commanding. She had range, she could be heartbreaking and hilarious in the same scene. She could play both the traditional heroine and the modern misfit, often within the same film. At a time when mainstream Bollywood often favored safe, sanitized characters, Kangana's women were loud, flawed, and messy, and that made them honest. Her craft had grown, her instincts were sharper, she could carry a scene with silence or light it on fire with a monologue. She wasn't just performing, she was inhabiting. And yet, as her performances grew more powerful, her public persona began to grow louder and increasingly combative. At her peak, an actor like Kangana Ranaut had the rare ability to disappear into a role, to make us forget the star and fully believe in the character. But over the years, the off-screen persona has begun to eclipse the on-screen craft. The performances are still there, flashes of brilliance, moments of emotional vulnerability, but they now arrive carrying the weight of controversy, of headlines, of polarization. It's a strange disassociance, watching a fearlessly talented actor struggle not with her skill, but with the space she occupies in public imagination. And that perhaps is the real loss, not of ability, but of excess, to the artist, to the story, and to the silence between the lines. Now, I personally believe there's a fine line between being outspoken and being completely disruptive, and Kangana has blurred the line between both. She took on Bollywood's elite, calling out nepotism long before it was trending, famously labeling Karan Johar the flag bearer of nepotism on his own talk show. She questioned the mafia nature of the industry, the hypocrisy of praise without support, and the silencing of outsiders. In many ways, she was right. She was voicing what a lot of people already sensed but didn't have the platform or the courage to finally say it out loud. But over time, the critiques stopped being about the system and started sounding like a personal war. The statements got more aggressive, the targets expanded, co-stars, producers, entire political ideologies, journalists even. And somewhere along the line, the actor got lost in the noise. The work, which once spoke for itself, now felt overshadowed by the daily headlines. You no longer thought of her as Rani from Queen, but sadly as a Twitter trend now. There's something undeniably lonely about Kangana's journey. She's not aligned with any studio, she rarely shares a frame with the current generation of leading men or women, and more often than not, she's working in isolation, creatively and socially. But perhaps that's the way she wants it. Kangana has publicly stated she doesn't believe in being part of the Bollywood gang. She's called herself self made, self funded, and self reliant. And that independence is admirable, but art doesn't flourish in solace. It needs collaboration, trust, exchange. The greatest actors from Meryl Streep to Shah Rukh Khan and have often collaborated with great directors across genres in ensembles. They've allowed themselves to be directed, edited, and even shaped. Kangana, on the other hand, seems to be shrinking her world. And when you're the only voice in the room, it's very easy to stop listening. Today, Kangana finds herself in a very strange position. She has 4 National Film Awards, she has critical acclaim, she has box office success, and yet she seems more alienated from the industry than ever before. Her recent projects like Thakad or Tejas have failed to connect, not because she lacks talent, but because the work now feels burdened by the baggage. The film arrives not with anticipation but with apprehension. Audiences don't come in clean, they come already exhausted by the disclosure around her. This is not a verdict on her artistry. Kangana remains one of the finest actors we've had in the last 2 decades. But cinema is also a business of perception, and when the perception becomes combative, the art gets harder to receive.
Who is very snooty. They are flag bearer of nepotism, the movie mafia.
And that's it from my side. Do chime in with your thoughts about anything discussed in this video down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video or if there's something you liked on the channel, please don't hesitate pressing the like button and subscribing to the channel for more of these reviews and analysis. Believe me, it goes a long way for the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.